Hello, everybody, and welcome to episode 2 of Picture Perfect. Mike, we're on episode 2.
It's crazy. Last week went very well. Everyone seemed to enjoy it.
Yeah.
I'm excited to be here.
I am Bobby Gross. I'm alongside Mike the Animal.
Mike the Animal Batista.
The Animal Batista.
Two T's. Well, 3 T's, but 2 T's next to each other.
Yes.
Yes.
That is correct.
Yes.
And we're here. We got a Lion King review coming up.
Yes, we have. We just saw it today. It was a thing.
It was. Got there a little late.
Missed
right in time.
It's a Disney movie, though, so I expect the previews we missed were all either Disney-focused or very, family-friendly movies.
Yeah, I'm sure we didn't miss much, and we're also going to be talking about a few news stories. We're going to talk about all of the trailers that came out this week. I mean, it was just one after another. We're in the middle of San Diego Comic-Con right now, and unfortunately, we're recording right before the Marvel panel happens tonight. They're assuming, or I'm assuming, that they're going to announce their whole slate for the next few years, and we'll try to fit that in. We'll put that in next week.
We definitely will, because the only Marvel stuff I've seen this week was in reference to the Ubisoft video game that's coming out for Avengers that doesn't have any of the character likenesses.
Yeah, and also one of our news topics that we will talk about, which broke before Comic-Con, so we had enough time to gather that information and talk about it for today. And but before we really dive into this, we just want to thank all you guys who have reached out and said so many kind words about the show. It means a lot to us. It is a lot of work. Editing and getting together, making sure that we have enough time during the week to record the show. But all the nice things that we've heard throughout the week make this all worth it.
It's all for the fans.
It is. It is all for the fans. And
not the fan, the fans.
The fans. Multiple fans.
There are dozens of us.
Yeah. There are a couple.
There's at least 40, apparently.
Yeah, around there. You guys can subscribe to us on iTunes. We got approved on Tuesday of last week. And we're all set on iTunes. You can subscribe to us on there. Apple Podcasts. Rate us 5 stars. That would really help out the show. You can also find us on Spotify. And as far as the social medias, we're on Twitter at PickPerfectCast. And on Facebook, we're at Picture Perfect. Give us a follow there. You'll be all up to date with the news, what we'll be discussing on the next show. And, I don't know.
I'm disappointed in you. You used to do YouTube. It's supposed to be, smash that like button, leave a comment, subscribe.
Ring the bell, click the bell.
Ring the bell.
Get the notifications on the videos. And speaking of the YouTube, actually, next week, a little spoiler alert, we'll be reviewing Once Upon a Time in Hollywood. And hopefully we'll be going to the Alamo Drafthouse. And right now we're scheduling to shoot a little vlog of our trip to go over there.
We're doing the Lorenzo brothers?
Not necessarily the YouTube thing. It's a YouTube thing. This is how the kids these days get popular on YouTube. And
are you telling me that we can be the next Jake Paul and his brother, who I don't remember? Do you not know who that is?
I do know who that is.
Okay.
I hopefully, I don't think we have going into a suicide forest on our list of things to do.
We can go into the river. That's pretty close.
The Passaic River. We could go into that. We'll come out with a few extra limbs and maybe an eye missing. But, so you're going to want to subscribe to us on YouTube as well. We're at Picture Perfect on there. We're going to try to grow that channel as well, because you're going to be seeing not only our podcast on there being uploaded on that channel, but also, like I said, we're going to try to do some vlogs on there to special occasions that we go to, movie-related things, like going to Alamo Drafthouse next week in Brooklyn to see Once Upon a Time in Hollywood. So that should be fun. Subscribe on there, and I don't know, is there any more cleanup to do, Mike?
No, I think we should get right to the news.
All right, so let's get to the news. We got a bunch of trailers. We got It Chapter 2, Top Gun Maverick, Jay and Silent Bob Reboot, The King's Man, not to be confused with Kingsman, and, of course, Cats. Now, we're not going to go into each one in depth all that much, but just broadly, what would you say, Mike, was your favorite of the trailers, and which one was your least favorite?
Favorite of those 5? I'm going to say my favorite was probably... The thing I'm most looking forward to is probably It.
Okay, and that's coming out in September, so
it is,
a couple months.
I am not a horror movie fan per se.
Neither am I.
It's not something that I'm not usually big into being scared. However, especially when I was a little kid, I hated that stuff.
Mm-hmm.
As I've gotten older, I've gotten better with it. And I remember, like, when it first was announced, I didn't want to see it, but then it was right around the time clouds became creepy again, and everyone was doing pranks, and then it became a cultural thing.
Did you grow up with the miniseries? Is that why you were kind of hesitant with the movie, because you don't know? Because Tim Curry, I mean, my God, as Pennywise in the miniseries was just excellent.
Well, I didn't grow up with it per se. I mean, I saw it when I was a kid, yes, but it wasn't something I associate with my childhood. And Tim Curry in it was creepy. I hate clowns. I don't like clowns.
I like clowns.
I don't
mind them.
I don't like clowns at all. And so, but when I saw the first one, I thought, this isn't. There's jump scares in, of course, but like it's not cheap. It's like playing to the character, and I feel like it's not trying to be mean about it. If that makes sense.
Sure. But did you find the first It scary?
As a child, yeah.
No, but the first movie of this series.
Yeah, I did. It was a lot of like in your face horror, and there was also a lot of psychological stuff. Like I don't want to go into spoiler territory, even though it's older, but there were just points where it was like the part with the TV talking to the kid with the father sitting in the chair. Mm-hmm. That part was terrifying.
Yeah, there was definitely a few moments that were scary, but I wouldn't say that I was in any point in that movie scared. I don't think horror movies can really scare me. I can be disturbed. Like the other week, I've never seen Carrie, right? The original Carrie movie.
Ooh,
and I got like 10 minutes into the movie and I had to turn it off because I wasn't scared.
It unnerved
but
you.
it was unnerving. It's kind of like A Clockwork Orange. I watched that all the way through. I will never watch that movie again. But I didn't feel that way about it. But I can definitely see why, especially with people kind of like you, Mike, who are scared of clowns. I mean, I couldn't imagine, like, if you're going to see this movie or these movies, how you would feel, or even why the hell you would go in the first place.
Yeah, well, to be perfectly honest, like the original It, I feel like the new It, the only time it really does anything with him being a clown is the part in the sewer. The original It really just makes him seem like a deranged clown killer who's got supernatural powers. And I guess because it was kind of, I don't want to say it was set more in reality, but it didn't feel like it was as supernatural, especially like the part with the kids, like the original. When you get into this new one, the first part in the sewer, that reinvigorated like the whole, I do not like clowns. But then as it keeps going and it starts to get more about him just torturing these kids, like at the projector. That's not only is that the clown thing, that's like, it's not just he's a clown, it's because he's a terrifying monster who can just bend reality.
And you didn't read the book, right?
No.
Well, it's pretty much known that, and especially with the miniseries too, you can kind of tell where the adult part of the story isn't as intriguing as growing up. I think there's just something about like the coming of age, kind of like Stand By Me kind of vibe that you get.
Well,
with Pennywise.
Stephen King does that very well. It's adult stuff with him is hit or miss. You either get The Shining or you get the one with the trucks trying to kill people.
But the point is, the adult version, which we're going to be seeing in Chapter 2, in the books, in the miniseries, was not as well regarded than the first part. So I'm going to be interested to see how it's handled in this movie, at Chapter 2, because especially in the books, it kind of touched on it at the end of the miniseries where it gets super weird, but the book is absolutely wild. I read the book in like 6th grade, which for like a school project, which I was deranged. Catholic school, they're letting me read it.
Yeah, you're right.
And it's also like maybe like 800-900 pages long. I read the whole thing, and I don't remember too much, but there's specifically one scene that everybody knows about that is deeply disturbing.
It's in the adult section.
Yes.
Okay.
I think it's in the adult section, but I think it's a kid flashback. I don't think they're going to do it in this movie, but I'm really looking forward to this. The first It, a couple years ago, was a lot of fun. This one, great cast. You got Bill Hader, Jessica Chastain. You got a bunch of character actors, too, that are just awesome. Apparently, this is the
most fake blood they've had in a movie before.
I think Jessica Chastain was on, like, Conan or something, and she said something like, in one of her scenes in this upcoming movie, it's thousands of gallons of blood for this one scene, and it's like the most fake blood ever in a horror movie.
That's impressive.
Which is crazy. And I think you get a little clip of that in the trailer, but not much.
Yeah.
But that's something that I think is going to really have people talking.
Yeah. So I'm excited. I will see this. I don't know if I'll see it in the theater with you because you'll make fun of me.
I can't guarantee that. Yeah. I can't guarantee that I won't make fun of you, I should say.
If anything, I might sit behind you.
That's fine.
Yeah.
And then when I hear screams, I'll just turn around and give you a thumbs up.
Or, yeah, it's audio. I can't do it. But yeah, just give me a thumbs up. Or if you feel like the back of your seat get kicked.
Yeah. And least favorite, what would you say? So you still got Top Gun, Cats, Jane Silent Bob, and The King's Man.
Well, I'm gonna discount The King's Man just because like I'm not invested in any of those movies. Right. Just because nothing really. I've never seen them. Honestly, probably Cats.
Cats.
Okay. And it's like...
We're going to start this conversation.
Yeah, let's just get into this, because I feel
as though... It blew up the internet, this trailer.
I just saw the trailer before we started recording, but I'd seen the blowback, kind of like something else last week, where I've seen... A lot of times I won't look at stuff that people are complaining about, because I'm like, I don't need this in my life. But it's funny, because... Everything I know about Cats is that it's a weird musical with people in weird costumes and, like, really good songs.
Mm-hmm.
And when I see the trailer of, like, this horrifying animation / CG, and I just think to myself, well, you got what you came for, because of course they're going to do this.
Right.
Because, like, that's what the theater is. Like, that's what the play is. Would you just, like, would you want to see a movie version where they're in the same costumes as the theater? Then just go see the theater.
I guess so. I think one of the biggest problems that people have been having is that they're having their cake and eating it too, as far as CG wise, because they CG, the actors' faces onto the cats, but at the same time they're running around in practical sets. So it just looks off-putting.
It's like Uncanny Valley.
It is, and it's just hilarious how bad the CG is as far as the face onto the body goes. It looks like a really shitty job of a deep fake that somebody just on their computer took Taylor Swift's face and put it on a cat body, and that's what it is. And it's brutal. It is terrible.
I've seen worse, because I go through the dregs of the internet and I see like bad animation. I've watched animations that are like, this is probably made for a tax loophole sort of thing.
Yeah.
And I've looking at this, I can see there's money in it. I can see it doesn't look good, but there's money, and I can see like technically it's very like well done, but practically I don't think it looks that good.
Mm-hmm.
But I could see that like there's effort in it, at least. Like you could see when they're moving around, like you could see like the fur moving, and I'm like, okay, it's not cheap.
I think all the CG of the bodies is good.
Yes.
I don't think anybody has a complaint about that. It's the fact that you're seeing Judi Dench, James Corden, Rebel Wilson as cats.
You're seeing Judi Dench as a cat wearing a fur coat.
It is weird. Like, and it's just a weird mix of people to begin with. You have Idris Elba in here. I mean, it's just off-putting.
It's a musical. They've got good musicians.
Sure.
Not music. They got good
singers. Yeah.
So I'm like, this. I've never had any desire to see Cats. I've made fun of it for years without seeing it. I know like one song in it because like it's the Moonlight song. Like everyone knows.
Trailer, yeah.
Yeah, that's the one song I know, and I forgot it was from Cats. It's burned in my head.
I know it from School of Rock.
That too. But it's just the whole premise of this musical is weird, so it doesn't bother me that this movie looks weird, because I'm like, so the fans of this musical are gonna see this and they're gonna say, oh, it's a giant leap. Oh, it's so artistic. But like regular movie people, it's like regular theater people going to see Cats. They're gonna think Cats is weird.
It had a long run on Broadway too back in the day.
Yeah. So like I think the same thing's gonna happen here, where Cats fans are gonna see the Cats movie and think, oh, it's incredible. But everyone else is gonna think, oh, this is trash.
But here's the thing. Do you think that the people who are just really bemoaning this movie and memeing it out, aren't these people also going to see the movie just to see what the hell this thing is?
Yes, definitely.
So they're getting both sides.
I was going to go see the Sonic movie. Like, I made fun of the Sonic movie. I was going to go see the Sonic movie. I made fun of I made fun of the Emoji Movie, and I watched it on TV. I wanted to see it in theaters, but I just never got the chance because I was in college. But like, I will see the trash I make fun of because I want to have more material.
And it's just, I feel so bad for Jennifer Hudson. She's doing a beautiful rendition of this song, and she is just, but then you see towards the end she's belting out, and then you just see the face on the body,
the lips,
and it's just brutal.
The soundtrack for this movie is going to be fantastic.
Yeah, I'm sure it is. I mean, I actually remember my mom had a VHS tape of of the show. I think they might have recorded the original Broadway show.
They usually do that for Broadway.
Yeah, I think she had the tape. I remember the opening number, and that's it. So I can't say.
And what's the opening number?
It's I don't want to say it. Like, they're not going to put me on the spot like that. But it's just, they're like talking about cat stuff. They're like, angelical cats. Yeah,
exactly. That's the other song people know. But like,
those are the only two that I know.
Those are the two songs people know. I don't remember them from Cats. I just think it's a song.
It's weird. I'm definitely gonna see this. I'm completely taking a dump on this trailer, but it's one of those movies that you have to see to believe, and I am going to be there. Opening weekend to see this damn movie.
Would you see this at Alamo Drafthouse with a bunch of cats in the theater?
You know they're going to do some kind of themed party. You know they're going to do something like that. Maybe like a 3-course meal, maybe.
A tuna can?
Yeah.
And like a roasted
glass
fish.
of milk.
And like a fish, like a...
Alamo, pay us.
Pay us.
There you go. If you didn't think of it, we just gave you the best idea.
Oh, totally.
So that's Cats. That's probably my worst trailer too. Like, I mean, come on, there's no redeeming that trailer.
So what's your best?
I would also say it Chapter 2, but just to briefly talk about The Kingsman, because I've seen the Kingsman movies. I really like them. The first one, Secret Service, is great. It's one of my favorites of that year. The follow-up, the second one, wasn't as good, but I still enjoyed it. This looks completely different. This is a prequel to these movies. It's a completely different tone. It's like a war film. But I'm intrigued. If you had no idea that this linked to the franchise, and even if you had like, I mean, it's just completely different. So I don't even think you have to see the Kingsman movies to watch this one, because it's just so, it's a prequel. So it's stuff leading into the current ones, but This looks pretty cool. I'm impressed.
Are you the kind of person where someone should watch something in chronological order or order of release?
I would say order of release.
Okay.
Because a lot of times if you, like, say for prequels, right, there's going to be stuff in there that will inform the original ones that came before it, that are intentionally put in there because those movies did come before.
Yeah.
So I would always say chronologically released. But, some people go with Star Wars. They'll start at 1 and then build their way up, which is just insane to me. But I would go with movie release date, and because I'm sure the Kingsman, you get a little glimpse at the end of the storefront of the Kingsman. So, but like, I mean, that if you're watching the movie, I'm sure it is what it is. But as someone who's seen the movies, I'm like, oh, okay, I recognize that. But as someone who hasn't seen the movies, are you intrigued by this trailer or no?
I'm intrigued as much as I am the other Kingsman movies. It's too many people have told me to go see Kingsman. It's at this point, yeah. Like I have a desire to see a little bit, but it's not something I'll go on my way. If it is it on Netflix or anything?
I don't think so.
So, like, if I had a movie streaming service, it was on there, I might do it.
But you know what? It's a Fox property, which is now owned by Disney. So you might see these Kingsman movies go up on the Disney Plus service.
Put
later in the year.
Put that right next to Mulan.
Yeah.
I mean, like, well, I'm probably not getting that because I don't want to.
Might get $6.
I don't care.
$7, whatever it is.
I don't care.
You're getting the Marvel shows. You're getting Star Wars shows.
Oh, hey, can I get an ESPN deal where I get my ESPN Plus? You
yes,
just need
they're
to
probably going to bundle it.
I'll do it. Fine. I get ESPN Plus. Give it to me.
They'll probably bundle that. They'll bundle Hulu all together. But you'll get 3 services right there for like. I bet you it's going to be like $13, and you get 3 services. $13. You want to do that?
I'd debate it. I would debate that. I already get ESPN Plus for $5 a month, so why not?
And then we had Top Gun Maverick. I don't think we have much to say about that. I really don't like the original movie. It's fine.
I like the original. I just don't.
This trailer was weird. It was very self-serious.
It was very self-serious. The first movie is also self-serious, but like it doesn't. It's like it wants to be serious, but it unintentionally isn't.
It has the 80s seriousness, which isn't serious at all. But this one is, like, actually, like, I mean, it has a little, you have the volleyball scene in the trailer, right? That obviously is a callback to the original, but, I mean, that's probably going to be the limit of the cheese.
You have the 80s movie, which is, you have these serious scenes, and Tom Cruise is, like, is losing his mind about stuff, and his way to cool off is to jump on his bike as the sun, it's like, blasting off in the sunset. I'm like, this is a serious movie? But no, it's not.
This madman is doing the fighter pilots. He's actually in those airplanes doing the stunts himself in this trailer. This guy is almost 60 years old and he's doing this kind of stuff.
Tom Cruise is controversial. I will never not say that he's a fully committed actor. He's the same in a lot of movies. But as far as acting wise, but then what carries him or what has given him this longevity is doing these unbelievable stunts. Yeah.
I think that's what a lot of people go to his movies for, to see what the hell this guy's going to do next.
Oh yes.
And Jay and Silent Bob reboot. You know,
it's fine. I'm more of a Clerks
couple
fan.
Laughs.
I'm more of a Clerks fan than Jay and Silent Bob. Perfectly honest. I'm glad we stopped.
Me too.
I'm glad we stopped after 2. And I think 1 is still like one of my favorite movies of all time. And I got into arguments in college very vigorously about how someone wouldn't watch it because they don't like Kevin Smith. And I go, no, you should watch it. Like, you don't like newer Kevin Smith. Like,
his old stuff is so good.
His old stuff is totally not like that. It's literally black and white, and it's set in not seaside.
It's down the shore.
Down the shore, like
at the beach for people not in New Jersey. Yeah. When we say down the shore, that's what
exactly.
That means.
But it's just so good. It's so different, and I loved it. But whatever. I'll probably see it at some point.
He's having fun. There is a ton of cameos in this trailer.
The best part about Kevin Smith is that his early stuff, when he was still new, was when he first started getting those cameos. Like when he got Stan Lee.
Yeah.
Like that was a magical moment. Now that he's made it, it's not going to have as much weight.
But he's also friends with everybody.
Oh yeah, he's a very likable guy.
You have Chris Hemsworth in here. Ben Affleck is back. I mean, Kevin Smith and Ben Affleck had a falling out years ago, and I guess they patched things up.
Yeah.
You have Matt Damon, who is like the king of cameos now. He's in like every movie. Thor Ragnarok, he shows up. He's in so many little cameos in movies.
He was in Thor Ragnarok?
Yeah, he was Loki in the stage play.
Oh, yeah. I didn't know that.
You were today years old.
I was today years old. Oh, baby.
But Matt Damon is just popping up everywhere in these cameos, so I don't know if this is going to be a cameo or if he's actually going to have a role in it.
Good on Matt Damon. He deserves a break.
Yeah, and, the trailer's fine.
Yeah,
I mean,
trailer's fine.
It's the kind of humor that you would expect from Kevin Smith. It seems like he hasn't matured any since, Jay and Silent Bob Strike Back.
Well, I don't expect Jay and Silent Bob to mature. I expect,
but the people around him can at least mature. Maybe not those characters, but the writing is still very
early 2000s, mid 2000s.
I don't know if all this humor is going to land in.
There was that one. What was the religious movie that
Dogma, which is my favorite.
See, Dogma is mixed with those dumb people, and then also kind of sophisticated a little bit. So it's but
it's got some stuff to say about religion.
Yeah,
I would say Dogma and Clerks are my 2 favorites.
Yeah,
Chasing Amy is really good too, although apparently it doesn't hold up as well in 2019 anymore. There's some stuff in there that's like, I don't know. But I haven't seen it in years. But when I saw it, I really liked it.
Yeah.
So those were all the trailers. But we also got news that, speaking of Thor Ragnarok director Taika Waititi is coming back for Thor 4.
Yeah.
Which I guess was probably going to be one of the big announcements at the Marvel panel today.
But it got leaked.
Of recording today, Saturday. But they leaked it out, whoever. What did you think of Thor Ragnarok, and what do you think about Taika coming back for Thor 4?
Well, I told you last week that I had the I don't want to say honor, but I had the, I watched a lot of the Marvel movies back to back because I caught myself up. And so I saw Thor 1, 2, and Ragnarok, pretty close together. And I don't think the Thor movies are as bad as people say, but Ragnarok's definitely the best one.
Oh, yeah.
And
it's probably top 5 Marvel for me.
It's very good. It's
hilarious.
Good.
It's more of like a Saturday morning cartoon or like a straight up comedy than a Marvel movie, which I like.
Yeah, and I appreciate that there were jokes in there that didn't get tired out. It knew when to keep going. It knew what bits were funny to keep around for the entire movie. It knew where it had to go. And I think that's. Oh, and also just not to talk about the director, but the color palettes. It was the most visually inspiring.
It's straight out of a comic book.
Yeah,
and I'm a huge fan of Taika Waititi. I've seen all of his movies, and you can definitely tell in Ragnarok that that's his humor. His brand of humor is definitely there. I would definitely recommend you guys check out movies called Hunt for the Wilder People, which is great, and also What We Do in the Shadows, which is probably one of the best comedies of the last 10 years, which also has spun off into a TV show on FX. I love Taika Waititi, so I'm really happy that he's coming back for Thor 4. But it's going to be interesting, though, what they're going to do with this movie, because you also have Thor with the Guardians right now, and it's already announced that Guardians 3 will be coming out in a couple of years, so where Thor fits on the timeline is going to be interesting.
Well, Guardians 3 was supposed to be out by now, but there was that whole kerfuffle, so I have a feeling
I think it's 2021, I want to say, that it's going to come out.
So is Thor 4 supposed to come out before that?
That's what I'm saying.
I think it has to be delayed.
We'll get some clarity, I'm sure, at the panel today. They're going to have the whole release schedule, so this is going to be very dated, what we're talking about right now, because everybody's going to know this information.
My dad, Dave Bautista, really messed up that schedule.
The real animal?
The real animal.
Your Animal Jr.?
Animal Jr. When I saw my dad just come down at WrestleMania and he and get beat up by Papa H, it was very sad.
Yeah, so, and also speaking of Marvel, Lashana Lynch, who was a character in Captain Marvel.
Yeah.
She was the best friend to that character.
She was the goose of that story, pretty much.
Exactly. The internet blew up because apparently she'll be playing 007 in the next James Bond movie. And here's the thing. We saw, spoilers for Spectre, we saw at the end that Daniel Craig walked away. So he's probably still in retirement. I'm sure, this is my theory about what's going to happen. I'm sure once he retired, they instituted Lashana Lynch's character as 007, not necessarily James Bond, because 007 is just the agent name. So I'm sure what's going to happen is maybe she dies in the beginning of the movie, and they have to bring James Bond, Daniel Craig, back to fill in for 007. I don't think that she's going to be like the 007 going forward. It would be a little bit weird and a little bit cheap. But to be honest with you, I don't really care. I'm not the biggest James Bond fan. I really love Casino Royale. I really love Skyfall. I've only seen the Daniel Craig movies. I don't really have the need or feel the need to watch the older ones just because from what I see online and clips that I've seen, it's extremely dated.
Oh, yeah.
So I don't think I'll ever watch those old ones, but as far as this new timeline of James Bond, this is interesting news, but I think that the backlash that this news has received is a little bit overblown.
So, I mean, G4, back when that channel existed, they had a Bond-a-thon a couple times, and I remember I watched those old ones, and I thought they're very dry, they're kind of long, and
very sexist.
The Sean Connery ones. The Sean Connery ones are just amazing for that. But if you... I remember people want Idris Elba to be 007, and now you've kind of got that, and it's a female, too. And I'm just kind of going that. That's cool. I'm fine with it. I don't care. I like I like 007 movies. Like, I like 007 movies. I don't like 007. I think...
Fair.
I haven't even seen all the Daniel Craig ones. I just think that they're fine. I think that he was a good actor to play a spy because he kind of looked the part. I don't know much about this actress besides that she was in Captain Marvel.
I think that was like her big breakout. She's done a little couple things for BBC or something like that, but this was like her big performance, her big role.
Oh, she's British?
Yes, she's British.
Oh, well, that makes sense, actually, of course. You're not going to make it
American.
American.
Yeah, of course,
you're not going to make an American. It's like making an American...
God, the riots in the street of London would be unbelievable.
It's like making an American Doctor Who. Just can't do that. Ugh.
No, you can't.
But no, I don't care. I'll probably see it eventually. It's fine.
I just feel like James...
I'll see the clips on YouTube of the chase scenes that I care about.
Yeah, because that's really the highlights. You're not going to get much. I mean, with Casino Royale and Skyfall, those were good stories, but you also got two stinkers in Quantum of Solace and Spectre. So it's been very hit and miss, these Daniel Craig movies. But I just feel like James Bond is outdated. We have so many better action franchises right now that if you were to just take a long break from James Bond and revive it somehow, maybe like 5-10 years from now, I think that would be fine because we have, we have series like Mission Impossible. Again, Tom Cruise just doing some crazy stuff in those movies, and it just seems like James Bond is a relic to me. Or at least my generation. I don't think our generation really cares that much about James Bond.
We'll see it. We just don't. We're not invested.
No. I mean, and this is more of like England's. This is the UK's franchise.
Yeah.
And it definitely has an audience overseas here, but I can't say that I actually care.
Yeah.
And then lastly, I know you wanted to mention BoJack Horseman real quick.
Yeah.
Even though this is a movie podcast, Mike is a huge fan of BoJack, so he's got to shout out his people.
Yeah. So BoJack Horseman. Recently, the Emmy nominations came out, and BoJack Horseman got nominated for the award for pretty much like outstanding work in animation. Like, it's a singular episode; it's not the series itself, and I am very happy that I finally got some recognition because BoJack's been a series for the past 4 or 5 years that has been really too niche than it really should be. Mm-hmm. Bobby, I know you watched like the first few episodes and you kind of bowed out because you feel that it was like the first few episodes were very like cutaway gag, and that's true. But it's really over time developed into this really good satirical look at Hollywood, life events, not political culture, but just overall, like, how the world works. And it's very cynical, and I love it so much. And the episode that got nominated is actually a very unique one. So the episode that got nominated is something called Free Churro. And the fact this got nominated for an animation award is fantastic and stupid at the same time, because the kicker about this episode is that the entire premise is it's BoJack Horseman, the main character, giving a monologue at his mother's funeral. It's literally 22 minutes of him speaking at a funeral, going off about life and how it's almost like a stand-up bit. And there's parts where he motions to the like guy off to the side to make the da-dunts. And it's so deep and personal, and it's real, and it's coming from an animated horse, and it feels so dumb, but I love it. And Will Arnett is amazing in it, and honestly, I really hope it wins. It's going to get body slammed by Adventure Time, though.
Yeah, I've tried BoJack, and I can definitely see its appeal. And I've heard the same thing, that it gets better each season. It's just, I've tried those first few episodes maybe 3 or 4 times, and I just can't get through them.
I understand that.
And I'm a completist too, so I can't just jump to season 2 and skip season 1.
I tried to go back and rewatch them. It does get rough. Like the second half of the first season is where it gets better, and like there were reviewers when the show first came out, they gave it like a C+ because they watched the first 6 episodes, and then they had to redo it because they said we were wrong, and they gave it like an A-. But I totally understand that. There's an episode in this series that should have been nominated for an award where there's no dialogue whatsoever. It's him underwater, like, because this world is, like, filled with humans and anthropomorphic animals, where he's underwater going through this, like, he's on a film tour because he's promoting his new indie film, and he goes to a film festival under the sea, and he's wearing this helmet where he can't talk, and the entire 20 minutes is him exploring and trying to get stuff done, and it's beautifully animated and stuff like that. And the way they do stuff in the show is great. So,
and BoJack Horseman available on Netflix right now. You can check out. Would you be able to watch that singular episode without knowing the rest of the show? If you just wanted to check out that episode, would you be lost?
I think, well, you could. I think you could watch it because the way he spells it out, because he goes through a 22-minute monologue about his mother, so if he tells you about his mother. If you watch a show, you know about his mother. But if you just watch that and you know about his mother,
it catches you up.
It catches you up a little bit, and then you can watch the rest of the show. I would suggest you watch the rest, but there's 4 seasons at this point. But you could totally just watch Free Churro by itself and appreciate it.
All right, guys, so check out BoJack Horseman if you haven't already. Mike, there's a lot of shows out there. I don't know if this can get into my cycle anytime soon to watch.
I understand. It's just new season's coming out later this year, so I'm excited for that. I'm going to encourage you to give it another try, and honestly, I'd watch it with you if I could. Like, if we could try and figure that out.
That's a lot of time together, Mike.
Oh,
you want to spend all those hours together?
We could do a vlog of us watching BoJack Horseman.
Would people... Hey, listeners, would you be interested in a live stream of me sitting through 4 or 5 seasons of BoJack Horseman?
Oh, that's sad. Oh, that's funny.
I don't think there's enough viewership for that, Mike.
Oh, there's enough viewership.
Maybe because it's not in my cycle yet. Maybe by the time this thing grows and we get an audience, maybe people will care.
Maybe. All right, let's get to the meat. Let's get off the meat and potatoes. Let's get to the meat.
Lion King. New movie, remake of the classic, what was it, 1994?
Yeah, that was a Rangers Stanley Cup year.
1994.
Yeah.
Of course, you know that.
Yeah.
So this is, God, I don't even know what number live action remake this is, even though technically it's not live action. But we briefly talked about this last week when we talked about Mulan. How many of these?
I think it's 4th or 5th.
No, there's way more than that. It seems like there's been 4 or 5 this year. I mean, there's been so many.
Maybe I'm just thinking this year.
And it's too much, especially this year. There's so many big movies from Disney. I don't know, and then you look at their schedule next year. I mean, you've got some big movies, but I don't know why they bunched Aladdin and Lion King all together. You still have Frozen 2 coming out. I mean, there's so many movies Disney is putting out. But Mike, The Lion King, what are your thoughts? What do you think about the original?
I love the original. The original, to me, is one of my favorite movies of all time. It's one of those movies that I feel like I have a life moment every time I watch it, because it feels like there's just a great story and a great progression of events that you can relate it to real life.
Great music,
it gets you emotional, and you just feel like after you watch that movie, you feel like, yeah, I'm gonna go do the thing, and then I don't do the thing, but it makes me feel like I'm gonna go do the thing.
Yeah, I know people love this movie, and don't get me wrong, I really like it, but it was never one that I always watched. I've seen The Lion King a handful of times. I really like the music. Music is great. You got a couple songs that are like instant Disney classics, but I don't have the same attachment that most people have to the original. I was more Pixar growing up, and then I watched, of course, Aladdin. Aladdin was probably my favorite Disney movie from the 90s, but you also had Tarzan, you had Hercules. So the ones that came out when I was a kid, those are the ones that I gravitated the most. I never really watched the classic ones. But Lion King, for whatever reason, just never really dug its hook into me. So I don't have this kind of nostalgia for the first one. I don't have the connection like you obviously do. You say it's one of your favorite Disney movies.
Yeah. So to kind of go off about that, do you remember in I want to say early on in the movie, you were sitting next to me, And I remember you laughed about it, but you just heard a...
Big deep breath from you.
Just like...
It was maybe like 15, 20 minutes in. I was like, oh boy.
It's just like, I was watching again going like, okay, here we go. It's just because it was very weird to me, to a movie I watched, and then I'm like, oh, James Earl Jones, you did this when, what is he, like 70 now? What is he, 70?
Something like that. He's very old.
So, like, he was a 50-year-old pretending to be a dad originally. And
sure.
A 50-year-old can pretend to be a dad. Like, can act to be a dad. Now you have 70-year-old James Earl Jones pretending to be a dad when I have the 50-year-old version in my head. I kind of wish they just recast him.
It was weird that he was the only holdover from the original.
Yeah.
I don't know why you wouldn't just cast somebody else.
Yeah.
It was weird.
When I heard that, that's what made me sigh. It's just like, this is not, I would have preferred the recast for him. I love him, but I just feel like it would have been better to recast him.
But you know what? I think that instance is like these Disney live action remakes in a nutshell, where they'll keep certain things and then change a few things here and there. It's like they can't just do something completely different. Although Mulan looks to be that way. But it seems like they always have to have at least, some tie-ins to the original, because if you're going to remake a movie, like I said last week, I don't want to see all of the same things. And that's the biggest criticism that people have said of this new Lion King, that it's just a shot-for-shot remake.
But
I can't say that because, like I said, Lion King isn't one of my favorite movies, so I know some of the iconography. I know, obviously, when Timon, Pumbaa, and Simba are walking across the sun, and then it turns into the moon and everything.
Yeah.
I know those kinds of shots, but I don't know, specific scenes. I don't know if scenes in this one were, like, completely taken from the original.
They were.
But...
They were.
Okay.
There were a lot of... This was kind of a shot-for-shot remake. There was some... When you're doing... It felt to me like a shot-for-shot remake, and I hate to step on your toes, but, like, there was something in it that kind of just... There were two things that you said that kind of stuck with me, and I'll get to the one part after this. When you're doing a shot-for-shot remake, when you do something different, it stands out.
Yeah.
The animal critters that were with Timon and Pumbaa, those aren't in the original. It's just him, and it's just Timon and Pumbaa living in the oasis, eating bugs. Now you got these other, like... those animals that were just in the oasis with them, you know what that was? That was filler for the featuring section.
Sure.
They were only there because you need to put their names in there. You need to put those actors' names in there.
And you had the two hyenas that were the comedy relief for whatever reason.
Key and Peele, yeah.
Was that in the animated movie?
Well, the original movie, there are three hyenas.
Right.
There's the one that just laughs, there's Whoopi Goldberg, and then there's the guy who's...
Okay.
In this one... There were not... In this one, they got rid of just the laughing one.
Okay.
They still have the leader, who is the female.
Right.
I don't know her name, but, like, it's not Whoopi Goldberg this time. But they pretty much took the one comic relief. They took the two comic reliefs and made them into Key and Peele, that's fine.
Which, it wasn't Key and Peele. It was Key, but I think the other one was Eric Andre.
Oh, that would make sense. Okay.
I think that's who it was.
Okay, Eric Andre is in this movie. It makes sense.
Because Key and Peele was in Toy Story 4.
So when I maybe it's just because if I hear one, I hear the other.
Keegan-Michael Key having a great year so far with these Disney movies.
Oh, get that money. But the hyenas were fine. I had no problem with the hyenas. I had no problem with any of the acting at all.
I had one person.
Was it Timon?
No.
Who was it?
Beyonce as Nala was...
Oh.
This might just be a me problem, but every time that she would talk in this movie, I would just flash back to, like, Foxy Cleopatra in Goldmember. Like, that's all I would hear when she was talking as Nala in this movie. She's just not a good actor. I'm sorry, she's not.
But I'm sorry, I don't want to lose track of what I was saying before. We'll get back to that. Just the shot-for-shot remake part... There was too many parts where it seemed like it went in the same direction. It's like it didn't differentiate itself enough. The only things it did different were the songs, and it wasn't even different songs like they did in Aladdin. It was just the same songs, different covers.
I mean, you did have that Beyonce song that was like played in a montage
when they were running back to thing. That was the one,
which is, I mean, I'm sure like this is gonna be, as the kids say, a bop, but I don't know that you needed to put this in there, because it's like, it's one thing when you have songs that aren't being sung by the characters, but this is a person singing a song that is also a character in the movie, but the character isn't singing the song.
This reminded me.
Do you know what I mean?
It was like Pitbull. It was like Pitbull singing "Rains Down Africa" and Aquaman. It was just that kind of out of place thing.
Kind of, but at least Pitbull wasn't a character in Aquaman. You had Beyonce there, but she's not. Nala is not singing this song. It's like a pop. It's like a pop song, which I don't. It's weird. It doesn't fit in. But why? You know what I'm saying?
I do.
Why are you having the person voicing a character in this movie sing a song that the character that she's voicing isn't singing?
You're right. Also, I'm sorry. I was thinking if Pitbull's a fish person after that, if he had a king of the sea,
just like a goldfish with. It's like cats. They put Pitbull's face on a goldfish.
It's like, will you join us, darling?
But that's I think everybody else is good.
Oh yeah, but no.
All right, finish your point.
I was gonna say that overall, it felt like it was a remake. There's no reason to see this movie. It's the same movie. The only things they do different is they add critters to Timon and Pumbaa for no reason, just so they can put them on the credits. They add, they change a couple of, there's no laughing hyena, now they just have two comedians, and, that's fine. For live act, it felt like it was supposed to be a Nat Geo, documentary, but there was no blood. Mm-hmm. It felt like they were supposed to...
The CG looked great.
The CG looked great.
Photorealistic, but at the same time...
There was no character.
Yeah.
It felt like, if you watch an anime movie, you could tell who the bad guy is. You could tell what the emotions are. For this movie, you just see the same lion face for everything.
Exactly what I was going to say.
Yeah.
It's like they can't emote, so you're getting all the emotion from the voice.
Yeah.
But the voice wasn't matching the face.
Yeah.
So but the actual CG itself looked great.
Oh, yes. Disney has money.
Yeah.
That's what
They certainly do.
That's what we can distinct from this whole thing. It's just fine, but it's just not.
But was it as bad as you thought it was going to be? Because it seemed like you didn't want to see this movie because you thought it was going to be horrible.
I didn't want to see this movie because I felt it was a waste of time. I still feel like that was this.
You still feel that way?
I don't need to see this movie. I feel like, ooh, I got to give Donald Glover a penny because I like Donald Glover. Mm-hmm. I like Childish Gambino. Ooh.
So but that didn't make it worth your time, Mike?
No, if he started singing like "This Is America," but it's Pride Rock, maybe it would have. But
that would have been something.
That'd been great.
Yeah, I like this better than Aladdin. That's not saying much. I didn't really like Aladdin at all.
Real quick.
It's fine.
Real quick, you said something about, when we were talking about James Earl Jones and him being in this movie, do you think that if Robin Williams was alive and he wasn't, I remember I heard towards the end he might have been getting, Alzheimer's and stuff, but if he was physically able, do you think they would have put him as Genie in the live action? So, that would have been weird.
That would have been very weird. But, again, it's just, I'm just dumbfounded as to why it's an iconic voice. James Earl Jones is one of the best voiceover actors of all time. You have this, you have Lion King, you have Star Wars. But at the same time, get somebody else.
You have Sam Hunt, that other iconic role.
Not in voiceover. You actually see the guy with the dog. So, there you go.
To him, it's voiceover.
Welcome to
Sam. Because he's blind.
Oh, too soon. But, yeah,
it's just, I can't, I want my time back, because I could just go watch the movie again. The one thing I'll also say is that I liked the banter between Timon and Pumbaa a lot.
I was going to get to that, yeah. Billy Eichner and Seth Rogen.
Yeah.
I love Billy Eichner. He cracks me up. I love Billy on the Street. He's hilarious.
Billy on the Street's great.
And he's a really good singer, Billy Eichner.
Oh, yes.
I had heard that he actually was involved in musical theater younger. Seth Rogen can't sing. You can tell that he was auto-tuned in this movie.
I thought he did fine, but yeah, he's auto-tuned.
Very auto-tuned. It reminded me of Beauty and the Beast, where they auto-tuned Emma Watson and Dan Stevens. The Beauty and the Beast, both main characters, had to be auto-tuned. That's another discussion. But yeah, I think those two were the best part of the movie. Would you say that?
Yeah, there was a lot of in-jokes with them. It's like, oh, like the whole like part introducing Kuna Matata or right after the song. It's like, those bits are great, and I will appreciate them. I will say that it carved itself out a nice place of like its own thing.
Mm-hmm.
You know, it didn't just have to be. They did the same lines as the original Timon and Pumbaa, but they added something else. It's like, okay, you tried, or at least the studio told them they could try.
Sure.
I don't know if the others could try.
But did they try hard enough?
No. But, like, when you're given Disney money, you don't have to try. You're just getting paid.
But at least, because Jon Favreau directed this movie. He also did The Jungle Book, which was from a few years ago. That one is pretty different from the original. If you go back and watch the original Jungle Book and you watch the remake, that's a remake that works because it takes a couple songs. It doesn't take all the songs from the original. It expands the story because the original movie is like, I don't know, 70-something minutes, maybe. Yeah. So he expanded the movie. This one was expanded by like a half hour. Because it was like 2 hours long, and the original I think is like 90 minutes.
That felt like
when you expanded this movie, it didn't really add anything to the story. The Jungle Book, when they expanded that runtime, it added to that story.
How long was the montage of them running in the desert back home?
It seemed like forever.
Like, I'm trying to think of where did they add stuff to this story? Because I'm like,
it's just like little scenes here and there.
Yeah.
It's conversation kind of scenes. Like, it doesn't add anything to the actual plot.
You know what?
It seemed like the part where he's young Simba was longer in this movie than the original, or am I just making that up?
I think you're just making that up.
Oh, okay.
Nala escape. I don't think Nala escaping was in the original either. I don't remember that.
I don't know. But this, I had read that, yeah, this was like an extra half hour. But... yeah. The music's good.
Music's awesome.
You had a problem with Can You Feel the Love Tonight?
Because it's in the middle of the day. Why do I want... It's like, how do you mess that up?
Tonight! It's tonight!
I literally looked at him. I looked at Bobby. Next to me, I go, the sun's out. Like, how do you fuck that up? It's literally, the song is called Can You Feel the Love Tonight?
Well, Mike, maybe it's like Sweden, where they have like 18-hour days... where the sun's out.
Africa.
And it's technically tonight. It's just the sun's still out.
Africa is not Sweden. Look at a globe.
Well, that was something, Mike, huh?
Yes, it was, Bobby.
So what just happened?
We just had a technical issue where I was yelling about animation, and then a pop
Look at the globe.
Your globe. And then I was like, you can make a night scene look like day in animation, but you can't do it in this CG. And then the audio popped and died, kind of like a...
Yeah, I don't know what's going on with this mic now.
Yeah, I don't know. We'll
2 shows in, the mic's dying. That's not a good sign.
It's a reference to our quality.
Yeah. Is this a metaphor for the podcast?
Yes, it is. For the podcast industry. It's a bubble waiting to pop.
So we're recording on stereo right now, so it's not going to sound as good. I apologize for that.
Yeah.
So I guess we should just wrap up, because I'm kind of defeated right now.
Oh, yeah.
But listen, I didn't hate this movie. I didn't really like it. It was goodish. It was goodish. Would I watch it again? No. Yeah. If I'm going to watch The Lion King, I'll watch the original. But there were aspects I liked. I would argue that Billy Eichner and Seth Rogen were better in this movie than Nathan Lane and whoever else was in the original. Yeah. Is that a hot take? I don't know.
That's just totally personal opinion. I like Nathan Lane because he's like...
I like Nathan Lane too.
Nathan Lane's a Broadway actor, so him singing is like really good. But Billy Eichner like shocked me, kind of like how he shocked you with how good of a singer he is.
Yeah.
So I'm fine with either or, and they did their own thing too.
So would you recommend people go and see this movie, Mike?
No. I didn't hate this movie. I just prefer the original a lot more, and I don't think this movie is necessary.
Yeah, I would probably say the same thing. Although, listen, if you have kids, it's an okay time. It's a good time.
There were so many kids in the
theater. You can sit through this.
The kids won't. They'll get up and start like making noises.
Sure. Because that's what kids do these days, right? They can't sit down for like 20 minutes.
Yeah, or they'll play with their straws in their cups.
That too. So, I mean, listen, you're not going to hate yourself if you go see this movie. Neither of us are recommending it, but if, you have...
This is going to be on Freeform in like a year. There's no problem watching this.
Yeah, I mean, it's a good date night movie. It's a good movie to see with kids. But we wouldn't recommend it.
No.
Just watch the original.
Just watch the original. You can get it for like $5 in discount bin.
So, what, the original?
I've seen it in discount bins.
Maybe the direct-to-sequel movies, but these originals are kind of like...
Lion King 1.5. Like,
yeah.
You'll see that. Yeah, but
sure.
no, maybe I'm thinking of like used copies.
Probably
thinking of used copies. No, back when
don't talk shit about Blu-rays or DVDs.
No,
damn you.
No, back when I was in college, they had the thing where you can buy a movie for like $5 that was used. Okay. It was like buy it for $1 or $5, and like Lion King was there a bunch. I'm like, aight.
Is that what you said when you saw it? Aight.
And like, aight.
Well, on that note, guys, we're going to close out the show.
John Cena movie, aight.
Was that $1 or was that $5?
That was $5.
What? I want to know what these $1 titles are then, if John Cena's in the $5 title.
Gotta get that Marine.
Oh my god. Well, guys, that's about it. Hopefully our recording microphone here works for next week. If not, you might get like the podcast recorded on my iPhone, and we'll do it that way. The audio is not going to be good, but until we get this fixed, I don't know what's going on. If anybody is a tech expert, let me know. Hopefully that I can get this fixed. This thing was $110. This is my second official use of the microphone, and it's already dying, so that's probably not a good sign. Blue Yeti, help me out here. Contact me, reach out, send me a new one. That would be great.
Yeah, and sponsor us.
Please do. And just more plugs. We want to reiterate. Twitter, Pick Perfect Cast. You can find us on Facebook at Picture Perfect. We are available on Apple Podcasts. Please rate us 5 stars. That really helps out the podcast. You can also find us on Spotify. Mike, where can they find you on Twitter?
You can find me on Twitter at MichaelB_96. You can find me on...
It's fine, Mike. I mean, listen, we're defeated right now. You don't have to get closer to the mic. I'll do something here.
I'll do it again.
No, it's fine. I'm keeping all this in.
But you can find...
I'm going to have to do enough editing, piecing these 2 clips together. This is going to be a real pain. Do you know that, Mike? All right. Anyway, I'm at Bobby is Gross on Twitter. So thanks for listening, guys. Thank you once again for giving us such great feedback. All the love in the world to you guys, and thank you so much for listening. We'll talk to you next week. Mike?
Bye.